Right on. Thank you, Neville. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another bi-weekly AMA. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Gary Barr, and I'm CEO here at Steam Exchange. I'd like to personally welcome everyone to 2022. May your year be as prosperous and as wishful as you guys want. Now, I myself have to attend to a meeting. I will go ahead and pass it over to our head of operations, Neville. Neville, go ahead, sir.
For sure. Thanks, Gary. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the AMA. For sure, welcome to the first official AMA of 2022. Q1 2022 is what we've been screaming for the last few weeks to a couple months, and we're here. So let's embark on this journey and have some fun. Before I get into my update, I do want to pass it off to Chris just to say hello, and then we'll get started.
Thank you, sir. Good day. Happy New Year to the entire Steam team. As you guys already know, my name is Chris Beckford. I am the head of infrastructure here at Steam Exchange. It's truly an honor here to be with you guys here. We're only 2 days into the new year, and you guys are kicking it with us. So truly a blessing to have you guys here all on board. I just wanted to say, continue thank you, not just from myself, but from the entire team for your overall commitment to the cause. It's no surprise that we wouldn't be here where we are today without your continued support. So again, thank you 10 times over. It's been an amazing journey, and we definitely want to continue to move forward. We have major milestones ahead of us as we march towards the end of Q1. So with that being said, let me kill my introduction, and I will hand it over to Neville for the first operational update of 2022.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. So for operations, I do want to change it up just a little bit for this AMA. Usually we talk about, what we're doing with the project, how we're scaling the team, et cetera, et cetera. But I do want to go a little more organizational today and just give you some insight in what we're doing in preparation for our launch for our platform and how we're getting ready for you guys to join our platform and get ready to trade. So firstly, we are incorporated in Ontario, Canada, and we always toot that we do function as an organization, as a corporation. So with that, just before the new year, we did sign a deal. The ink has dried for a vendor for our HR management tools and our payroll. We completed our code of conduct. I did drop a little snippet of the introduction of it in the chat last week. So the code of conduct is very sentimental. It's very true to our nature, with being transparent, with being honest, with being open, having an open door policy, and having no room for harassment and whatnot. So code of conduct's complete. It's actually in the legal process right now. Once legal goes through it, and tells us what we can and can't have in there, we will go ahead and publish that for you guys. We have job postings coming up in the next couple of weeks, specifically for our marketing team. So we talked about it earlier. So Viraf's team, we're going to scale it out just a little bit to help him with his marketing push for Q1 2022 for the BSC space and also real world marketing for the platform. So we are going to be looking for a social media expert and a media content creator. So we have someone, on call at all times to create images, videos, and whatever we need as far as copy goes for getting marketing out as soon as possible. For infrastructure, we did start receiving quotes for hardware, so servers, routers, switches, for those who are familiar with the networking world. So we were in the running for, signing deals for hardware. And then our partnerships, and this is the cool part. So we're looking at enhancing our partnerships that we currently have. So as you know, we do have partnership with the University of Waterloo. We are working with 3 different departments within Waterloo. The first one you guys know is their co-op program. The next one we're working with is their tech ops and their ops security. So we're actually working with Waterloo's infrastructure security team and also working with their tech ops. So we're enhancing our partnership that we have with them. Like we mentioned earlier, the iceberg is very large, and what we see is just the tip of it. And the newest partnership that we're looking to sign the deal with, or to close the deal with rather, is the Ministry of Ontario. So being a startup organization and also being a corporation, we actually fall into 2 different categories, and both of those categories give us access to a lot of government-funded programs. So the Ministry of Ontario, being the province of Ontario, they have a lot of programs that cater to what we need and what our needs are as an organization, and they're going to step in and help us fill those gaps and if it's something that doesn't exist today, they're going to help us create it. And one of those things is as possible manufacturing agreements in play for beyond stage 3. So if you look at our white paper, you'll see we have stage 1, 2, and 3, and then we have a section for beyond stage 3. And some of those things require manufacturing. So Steam Exchange is actually looking to bring manufacturing home to Ontario. So definitely more details on that as we evolve and as we grow on that partnership, the details of that partnership rather. And with that, I will close off and pass it off to Viraf for a marketing update.
Sorry. Guys, I do have to jump off over here. Neville, thank you. Everyone, thank you for having me. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries, Gary. Take care. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Neville. Hey everyone, my name is Viraf, and I am the head of PR and marketing at Steam Exchange. I want to wish all of us here at Steam Exchange family a very happy new year, 2022, and I hope that this year is as healthy and prosperous as can be for all of us, right? And speaking about marketing, if we switch gears, this year as well, our focus will continue to be strategic and timed in a sense with brand awareness and sort of longevity of our entire ecosystem being the key pillars, right? So we will have initiatives that are spread across time versus focus on those that have more of a burst effect. So towards the end of last year as well, we sealed a deal with Rogers Sports and Media, essentially securing 2 radio slots and 1 television slot here for a pilot campaign within Canada. In the upcoming weeks, we will be having talks with their team just to finalize on the key campaign details towards those 3 essential mass media slots and hone in on the content there as well. So those will be conversations that will happen. We will share dates as to when those campaigns go live and what essentially to expect on the radio television slots within our community as well once we have that lockdown, essentially. When it comes to our outdoor media and outdoor sort of advertising, we are continuing our talks here for essential signage, digital media, murals, bus wrap, stuff like that within Canada and also across the world. So those conversations are definitely ongoing. When we switch a tad bit towards our token, so to say, we mentioned BSC scan ads in the past. Starting this Wednesday, if everything goes well, we will have a 2-week campaign with BSC scan, essentially for their header text section. So I will post when those go live, and essentially we can keep a lookout then for Steam Exchange messaging on BSC scan as well. YouTube has been a platform that's worked well for us. We do see value in continuing to push out our content on that platform, right? It's a good, we've said this before, it's a good intermediary or sort of middle ground between crypto savvy and crypto curious. And at the same time, the videos and the views constantly compound, right? That content stays out there forever. Anyone new coming into the space can find relevant content out there. And also in terms of YouTube's algorithm, they constantly detect and pick up that, hey, there's more content around Steam Exchange on our platform, and there must be something good here. So maybe we can recommend it more and stuff like that. So it definitely helps with the algorithm there. We will continue to sort of scale up the influence ladder and sort of have a few in-person interviews as well with some of the influencers that we felt there was good overlap with, and sort of we were on the same path for sort of just where we see Steam Exchange going, essentially. When it comes to our videos in a different language focus, we have put some out, again, for our community across the world. But this is my ask here. If any of you are based in other parts of the world, and if there is an influencer that you particularly follow, they are organic, you like their content, just drop me a DM with their name and info. And if it makes sense, I will then sort of just explore that conversation with them and see if we can get our sort of material on their platform as well. Tying that into something, we are in talks with a large Latin American influencer. Essentially, he has close to 3 million followers. We are in the final stages of this conversation. And essentially at this stage where we are at is we're working on setting up our Spanish Steam.
think we lost Anki.
So sorry, guys. I do have to apologize. My laptop just died on me. I'm on my phone now. But essentially, where I was the Latin American influencer, right? So essentially, this individual has close to 3 million followers. We are in the final stages of the conversation there, and behind the scenes, we are working on setting up a Steam Exchange Spanish community group. So for those of us in here, we want to be positioned and essentially prepared for that wave of traffic that comes in once that engagement starts. So for those of us in here who have been part of our community, again, a request goes out. If you would like to maybe be a mod in our Spanish community group, if Spanish is your native language or one of your second languages, this is a volunteer position. I want to make that very clear. But we are looking for members of our community who could essentially step up and help provide sort of information and just to a certain degree moderate that group. So if you do see yourself playing this role or seeing yourself help support in this capacity, please either drop Pete or myself a DM, and we can explore that conversation there. So that's essentially with the Latin American influencer. I'm sure quite a few of us in here have heard of Coinzilla. This is essentially a crypto-focused ad platform. I mentioned it in the past, where they essentially have links and connects to over 600 different crypto and digital asset-focused websites. So we will be starting a few campaigns on their platform as well to essentially get some display ads, some banner ads, as well as text ads out to the crypto-savvy sort of audience. This will be again a pilot campaign, and based on the results and the data that we collect, we will choose whether to extend these or not. Similarly, we are also testing out, and we'll start to test out rather, campaigns with Facebook ads. I'm sure most of us in here do know that Facebook recently changed their cryptocurrency sort of advertising policies, and that enables people like us essentially to step up and share our messaging through their platform as well. So we will be testing that out. We will be working through a few campaigns there and scaling accordingly. So that's just a small nutshell of what to expect or what's going on. There's always something happening in the background just to constantly drive people either to our website or to our Telegram group or to Twitter. There's always something happening. The search volume, as I mentioned as well, we've been looking at some of the data. The search volume on our website, as well as platforms like CoinGecko, Crypto.com, has been steadily increasing across a particular time period as well. So I personally am excited for what is to come in 2022. We have an amazing and sort of positive community that we've built. And I look forward to sharing this Steam Exchange 2022 journey with all of you. So on that note, I think I'm going to pass it over to Chris for our infrastructure updates. Thank you.
Thanks, Viraf. Appreciate the update as always, and great recovery on that laptop dying. That was quick. All right, guys. So again, happy 2022. 2 days in, and there's no shortage of grinding, right? I mean, we're always at it, as Enki and Neville both alluded to earlier. Now, a couple of weeks back, we did give you guys a glance of our new landing page, and this landing page will continue and serve as our centralized hub for everything under the sun, Steam Exchange. This entails, but not limited to, our educational portal, our careers portal, and most importantly, access to our centralized and decentralized trading options. Now, as of today, we continue to optimize and integrate each of the components into the landing page to ensure the overall experience is clean, easy to use, and enjoyable. Right? We want to make this as easy as it can be, not just easy but fun. We want you to stick around. We want you to be able to trade, and most importantly, make sure that it's a safe place for everyone here to do business with us here at Steam Exchange. We will have more sneak peeks to come. Not much has changed as we did last time, flashed up to you guys. But as updates, do present themselves, we'll make sure that we guys keep you guys fully locked and engaged there from that perspective. Focusing in on centralized and decentralized portion of as always, our development teams are heavily engaged on the continuous backend integration and the administrative components, ensuring everything lines up to the ledger accordingly. Now, this continuous integration will ultimately enhance the overall trading experience when and if toggling. As you guys know, we will have those 3 major options for you guys. All will be available. It's not going to be every day that you might want to hop onto the centralized portion. You might just feel like throwing something into a quick swap, right? So this integration is just making sure that it's very seamless as you're toggling through all of the actual options that will be available. Also, as well, what we've been showing you over the last couple of weeks, a month. Again, you might have heard Gary say lots of times, this is not the end all be all from an overall user interface experience. And we continue to go ahead and tweak and align the overall UI to our quote unquote gold standard vision, right? Making sure everything's clean, fun, and just there ready to be leveraged. On the blockchain and the native coin side, we continue to be in that unique junction where on these AMAs we can't display much, but we can safely say that we're in optimal position for the overall development. And over the next month or so, hopefully there's something more tangible that you can get a glimpse of. But again, the teams are heavy at work, right? There's not a day that goes by that these guys are not plugging away to ensure that we hold all of our major timelines toward the end of Q1. Now, something that is very big as of recent, we have been over the last month or so been in talks with our on-ramp slash off-ramp vendor provider. And we're currently in the process of kind of finalizing these discussions, right? These discussions obviously do have a lot of implications. So we want to ensure that everything meets the needs from a Steam Exchange expectation and standards. So, and due to the nature of the agreement, unfortunately, we can't announce the vendor. However, once these services are locked in and we've finalized all the integration into the platform, these services that are being obtained will ensure that you can on ramp and off ramp fiat into the platform, as well as support debit and credit transactions as well too, right? So all in all, again, there's just a lot of moving pieces, and the teams are heavily engaged. And we are locked and loaded to be marching towards this year, right? I think, again, Enki touched on this earlier. There's no shortage with regards to the amount of work that's on the table for everyone to be doing. So we're happy to have you guys here with us, and during the weeks, and not necessarily just waiting for the AMAs, but during the weeks, there will definitely be a lot more information coming down the pipeline. So that's really it from myself, from an overall infrastructure perspective. Neville, Enki, Neville and Viraf, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add, or do you want to segue into the AMA portion of it?
Yeah, I just want to just take a second just to go through the partnership update that I mentioned earlier, just for anyone that missed it, because I know we get a lot of questions about it often. So I might as well get it on the record one more time. So I mentioned that beyond our partnership with Waterloo regarding the co-op program, where we take on students of theirs to work with Steam Exchange, we're working on two other engagements with Waterloo. So one of them being their tech ops, which is more around gamifying, which would tie into our gamified version of learning, and also their cybersecurity. So there's a couple of functions for Beyond Stage 3 that ties into the Ministry of Ontario as well. So between the University of Waterloo and the Ministry of Ontario and Steam Exchange, we're actually looking at bringing manufacturing home to Ontario for some of these products that we're planning on offering. So if you look at the Beyond Stage 3 roadmap, without getting into too many details, you can kind of put two and two together on what pieces we're going to be bringing home, which is pretty cool, right? So it's something that we're pretty passionate about, right? We've been tooting that we're 100% local, we're 100% Canadian, and now that we're bringing manufacturing home to Canada as well and Ontario as well, that's pretty huge for us, right? So we find that to be a pretty big accomplishment, especially with the cost associated with manufacturing. So that's the partnership piece that I mentioned during the AMA for anyone that missed it. Viraf, did you have anything to add for marketing before we move into questions?
No, I think we're good. That was a nice, concise, I think, update from all of us. I think we're good to move into questions if you guys are.
Awesome. Pete, are you going to control the hands?
If you guys want to do that, my TV is kind of acting up, so I might get kicked out and come back in. Sorry.
Sure, I can handle that then. Okay, cool. So we're going to open up questions. So let's raise your hands, and I'll pick them as I see them. All right, Fred wants to speak. Fred, sir, go ahead. Fred, you're unmuted. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, okay. What it is you're going to be doing your own blockchain, okay? And we'll be getting rid of BSC. Could you tell myself and the audience the advantages of doing so?
Sure. So it's one of the things that we're passionate about was having full control of our ecosystem, right? And operating on another, blockchain, even if it's a popular blockchain, kind of limits and hinders that vision or ambition of ours. Actually, Chris, maybe you want to touch on the blockchain a little bit more, since that's your infrastructure piece.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'll just keep building on what you're doing, right? So with regards to the blockchain, having that control, one of the big aspects of it will be, us, having the ability to onboard, great projects, right? Like ourselves as well too. I mean, we take full pride in what we're doing, and there are a lot of great projects out there. Sorry about that as well too. So having that full control of our blockchain and being able to vet other great projects out there and have them on our blockchain as well too is something that we're heavily invested in. And our main goal here is to make it a safe place, right? And something like this here will ensure that those kind of projects that we do bring onto our platform are great projects backed by great team with great drive and ambition, and most importantly, they're safe. So that's one of the biggest things for us. Does that answer your question, Fred?
It does, okay, and but it's also a case of will this enhance your coinage, okay, when it does come out?
When you say enhance, can you just elaborate on that a little bit? Like when you say
Well, I
enhance our
think
coinage?
we got to use for the Binance. We're using BNB, okay, and now we'll be basically, I assume, that we'll be using our own CMEX coin, okay. So I imagine that's going to be in a great deal of circulation now if it'll be on your own blockchain.
Right. Yeah. And that's correct. Right. And I just want to make it very, very clear. Right. And I know there's been a lot of talks with regards to Binance and us, but we're not, in the business of drawing any comparisons. We have a very unique niche that our platforms will be providing. Right. But we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. And we're just looking to enhance the overall experience of what we're doing, right, in terms of crypto in its entirety, right? So I just kind of wanted to put that out there, but yeah, you do have a point there.
Right, and also just to add on, like it will be the main trading pair on our platform, right? So you mentioned, circulation for sure. So the native coin, that's what we're going to be looking at listing on other platforms and other exchanges. The native coin is going to be the main trading pair on Steam Exchange. So when you're trading to and from cryptocurrencies, Steam Exchange will be that tether to or bridge rather to those cryptocurrencies. So it's definitely the entire ecosystem that we're looking to build, right? And we're looking to keep it as in-house as possible. So that's one of the main reasons developing our own blockchain, serves that purpose.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. All right, we have ISO Spies. You are allowed to speak, my man.
All right, so I have two things. Firstly, I'd just like to know if there's going to be a great variety of SteamX / ET whatever pairs on the exchange, as well as Bitcoin, ETH pairs, and USDT. Will there be a plentiful amount of them?
So we're definitely looking at listing as many pairs as possible. So one of the main, goals for us as an organization is to bring the convenience factor in. So we keep saying, bringing everything into one house, right? All your crypto needs in one house. So having multiple pairs and having bridges for those pairs is definitely on the table for us, right? And that's something that's part of our stage 3 roadmap. When we talk about integrating the decentralized aspect into our centralized aspect, that's part of it, right? So building out the different bridges, building out the different pairs, and making it as easy as possible for you to trade between these pairs without paying those huge gas fees by trading them in the traditional fashion.
You make it as seamless as possible.
Exactly.
And the second thing, I might have missed something. I was gone for a couple minutes. You were speaking on bringing manufacturing back to Ontario.
So not back to Ontario, right? So
not back to Ontario, but just providing more manufacturing to Ontario.
Correct. Yeah. So we're looking, and not just Ontario, right? So it could be any province, but specifically, we're working on Ontario and bringing manufacturing for one of the products we're looking to offer.
Right. Are you making physical goods?
Correct, right? So it's physical goods, right? Whether it be, something as simple as merch, or all the way up until, our debit cards, for example, right? So we want to, instead of outsourcing those to a company, in Jamaica, like another platform does today, we want to bring that manufacturing home, right? So we want to, if it's metal cards, steel cards, carbon composite cards, we want to be able to have the technology and manufacture those in-house, at home. So that's going to bring jobs to Ontario, and that's also going to increase our presence within the government sector, right? As far as manufacturing goes.
For sure. Where can I send my resume?
As soon as the time comes to take some resumes for some of those positions, we'll let you guys know.
All right, for sure. Well, that's all I had to say, boss. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, we have Samuel. You are allowed to speak.
Hey, there we go. How you all going?
Good. How are you?
Good to talk to you again. Just a sort of a quick question. I was just wondering, probably can't say too much, but it was just in terms of getting regulated and your guys' roadmap leading up to release. Are you guys looking pretty good and on schedule with the regulation bodies and your applications?
So regulation is one of those things that are out of our control, right? In the sense that we can do everything in our power to develop our platform as compliant as possible, but it's up to our legal team and the Securities Commission to work through the details on regulating. So yeah, we're on track when it comes to building our platform and making sure that we're compliant. So when the time does come for that full audit from the government or the OSC rather, we're ready for it. But it's all about government at the end of the day, right? So it's up to them and their timelines and when they give us that green stamp. As far as the platform goes, we're 100% adamant on having it ready, before the end of Q1 2022. The regulatory journey is ongoing; it doesn't stop. It is literally 24/7. So we get emails and calls and text messages from our legal team all the time. It's just one of those things that it's an ongoing journey, and I don't think it's going to stop even after we launch.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it. I have one more question, if that's all right, if no one else is jumping up and down.
Sure, go ahead.
And this one's, I sort of asked Pete this one the other day, but I just wanted to see if anyone else would be keen to answer. How do you guys see sort of Steam Exchange, the platform itself? Where do you see it in 5 years? And again, I'm not sort of looking for like pricing or anything, just in general, for like what's sort of like your 5-year goal for the platform? What are you guys hoping to see? If you can answer that.
So in 5 years, right? So we've been here now since, let's say, March 2021. So since then till now, we've made huge progress, right, in development. I haven't seen another project that has made the strides that we've made in the short amount of time that we've been in existence. 5 years is a long time to look at, right? So we know what our stage 3 looks like. We know what our beyond stage 3 looks like immediately after we launch. But we have a lot of plans and a lot of ambitions, right? So we want to. Gary always says we want to be the gold standard in the industry, right? So there's a lot of factors and a lot of caveats that we want to explore that will come after the platform launch, right? And as soon as we have those on paper, you'll definitely be the first ones to know. I always say that this community and this Telegram, this token is not the end of the life, right, for the community and this Telegram and our Discord and our social media, right? So it's going to be ongoing. As we develop and as we have new items to put onto a roadmap, you're going to hear about it in the community, right? And we definitely want to keep you guys engaged. We definitely want to continue engaging with you. So this is a long-term journey. So in 5 years, we could have, multiple different roadmaps to share with you.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Diamond. Diamond, you're allowed to speak. Diamond, sir, we can't hear you. Sometimes if you drop from the call and rejoin it, it works. In the meantime, we'll move on to F-Pool. F-Pool, go ahead. You're allowed to speak.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Hey, F-Pool, yes, we could hear you just there for a second. I think you're muted again now.
Okay, let's hope it
There we
works
go.
this time.
Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm wondering about the token itself. Right now we have the Steam Exchange token. Going forward, is that going to change to another coin or token, or like will it be consolidated, or what's going to happen to it in the near future, say?
Yep. So for the coin right now that we have offered right now, that we will eventually be migrating to our native coin. There will be a specific point in time once it does get announced that we will be going through a migration period where we will be kind of freezing the transactions here and then migrating users over to our platform. Once on our platform, then we will then have our native coin.
Nice. You don't know yet if that's going to be like a 1-to-1 or whatever, do you?
Hey guys, not quite sure what happened there, but we're back. Clearly, I think one of us on accident shut down the AMA. Give us just a second to get things back in order and push, I guess, the recording button back on as well, and we can then just merge both of the recordings.
No, we don't have to have the record. Yeah.
Oh, we don't? Okay. No sweat then. Whatever works.
Yeah, it'll delay the upload. Let's just continue.
Sounds good. I think there was F-Pool with the question around migration, but I think we got cut off midway.
Okay. I think I'm still on here. I was just wondering,
Nice.
do you know at this time whether or not when the Steam Exchange coin changes to another one, whether that's going to be 1-for-1 or what?
Yeah, so at this junction, I mean, being today, we are January the 2nd, we don't have those numbers finalized, but that is something that we continue to kind of plug away on the back end. As we get a little bit closer to that migration event, then that information will be disclosed accordingly.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate your question.
Okay, so we didn't restart the chat with everyone unmuted, so we'll ask that, if you have a question, go ahead and speak. But if someone speaks on top of you, just give them a second to get their question through. Everyone's unmuted, by the way, so anyone can go ahead and start speaking to ask a question.
Hi, Neville. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
I was just wondering, is there gonna be in the future like halving of the token or of the supply? Are you thinking of that?
So you mean like halving what the current supply is?
Yeah.
So the current supply is not going to be what the supply of our native coin is going to be. So that's already going to happen organically when we launch the native coin on our blockchain. So we're going to decide what the total supply is going to be, and then we're gonna distribute a ratio of that number. So that's going to reduce the supply then. And then there's going to be scheduled burns, right? So we have a lot of tokens that are sitting in a burn wallet as we speak. So there's going to be a burn schedule for those long term. And then there's also going to be long-term burns for the token in general. So definitely all those things will come as information to you and also be included in our white paper when the time comes. So our white paper is going to be an evolving white paper, right? So it's going to be, permanent in the sense that we want everyone to know what our journey was through stage 1, 2, and 3. And then once we're live, the white paper will evolve into the documentation for our platform, which will include things like the burn schedule.
That means that, if, for example, if someone has 10 million SteamX in the future, you're gonna halve them, or let's say that you're gonna make a kind of change on that.
Correct, but the value will be the same, right? So once we do the
Yeah.
migration into the platform, the tokens you receive may be less, but the value will remain the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That means that we need to fill our bags as soon as possible. Let's say so.
I mean,
This is
not
sorry.
not financial advice, but enjoy the journey and don't invest what you can't afford, right? That's what I always say.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
No problem.
Lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, if I may. Obviously, there's a lot of emphasis on asking you guys, from us asking you guys what you're doing, what you're up to, where you are. As a SteamX community, what are you guys looking from us? What can we do to help you along your journey? Whether that's beta testing, whether that's promoting it, how best can we as a SteamX community help you guys on your journey?
I'll take a first stab at that, and I always like to continue, and it might sound like a broken record, but for everything that you guys have been doing so far, thank you. You guys just being here with us, continue to spread the good word is huge, right? In terms of community involvement, there's definitely opportunities in terms of beta testing, assisting with the actual migration event. There will be definitely some more opportunities that we will be putting out there. But the biggest thing is just your continued support, through word of mouth and through your involvement within the community. We always have an influx of new members, and it's definitely refreshing to see how engaged you guys as a community are when new people come into the door, right? It's always it can be overwhelming coming into a new environment and not knowing what's going on. So just your guys' engagement from that perspective is huge in itself.
Definitely, right? I just want to just reiterate that sentiment, right? Like the community is literally, relentless when it comes to providing good feedback and good positive feedback when it comes to what we're doing. And more than that, welcoming new members to the community, navigating them to the right information. Like you guys are amazing when it comes to that stuff. For any kind of beta testing and stuff like that, we definitely will need the help. Once we're done developing this blockchain, and once there is testing to do, we definitely want to open it up to the community, right? And we definitely want to have, a sandbox version of our platform to get feedback on the look and feel, for the functionality, any kind of bugs you may find, anything to get us as prepared for our audits as possible, right? So that's all coming, down the pipe.
Thank you.
All right. So a question about token migration. I've never participated in a migration myself, and I'm just wondering how the process would work, really.
So there's a couple of ways that we have in mind already. I'll touch on one that I have in mind, or we've talked about, or touched on, and then Chris probably has a better idea of it, anyways. But the way we imagine it rather is, once you register onto the platform, you'll be presented with a portal. That portal is going to ask you to connect a wallet that would have SteamX token in. It'll then tell you what your swap ratio is going to be, because it's going to be pre-allocated, and then you proceed with the swap. And then it'll ask you if you're done, or do you have another wallet to connect. So if you're one of those people that have 3, 4, 5 wallets with SteamX token, you have the opportunity to migrate all of your wallets before you're done with the migration portal. Chris, I think that's the gist of it. Did you want to add on to it?
Yeah, no, I think that's essentially the gist of it from a migration perspective. Something to bear in mind too, that when we're going through the process of migrating onto the exchange, if you're going to be leveraging the centralized aspect of it, is something that our users would have to go through the KYC process. So prior to the migration, there will be a period where we're onboarding users and performing the KYC, completing those KYCs, and then segueing into the migration phase. So that is something to also keep in the back of your mind.
I'm wondering, would you alternatively be able to migrate your coins on Pancake Swap?
So that's something we're looking at getting away from, right? So we're looking at getting away from any other tool except Steam Exchange, everything into one house, and the main reason for that is security, right? So we've always said that we want to have the most safest and the most confident trading environment for you, the investor. So we're definitely going to move away from Pancake Swap. More so than that, it's our native coin's not going to be on the Binance Smart Chain, so it wouldn't function on Pancake Swap anyways. It's going to function through our native blockchain.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Not a problem. And then Diamond couldn't speak, his mic wasn't working, but his question, I've heard multiple times questions about staking and providing liquidity. The answer last time was it needs another license. Is this officially on the roadmap? I'm down for the long run, and I'm curious if I will be able to help provide liquidity for some interest or invest in other ways. So it's not that it's not on the roadmap. It's part of the regulatory journey. In order to get our license for staking and leverage trading, we need to be live. We need to make our market, right? So there has to be makers and takers on our platform, and we have to accomplish a certain volume of trading before we qualify for that license. And once we do get that license, we'll definitely open up staking and liquidity providing at that time. So thanks for that question. Chris, there was a question about the node. Did you want to go for that one?
Let's see if I can find that one. Is it in the chat?
Yeah, I want to ask regarding the reflections that exist right now. When blockchain is launched, will there still be reflections to the tokens?
So when we migrate to the native coin on our blockchain, then tokenomics will end. So there's going to be no fees. It's going to function as a actual cryptocurrency. So a main coin, rather, let's say. So there's going to be no fees, no taxes. There's only going to be transaction fees for trading, like your typical transaction fees, like whatever, the $1, $1.50 kind of deal.
I believe I asked in the last AMA, and you guys said you were in the process of just finalizing your lease for the physical location. I'm wondering if that has been completed now.
Negotiations are ongoing. So
I see.
so the office was pretty move-in ready, but we did have some demands, right, for what we had in mind and some changes that we wanted to make. So we're just going through the list and negotiating back and forth on, who would pay for it, would we pay for it, would they pay for it. Once we have all that ironed out and the ink is dried, we'll definitely announce the address, and we'll do another little video tour specifically of that building. We may even go live from there just for some fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, so someone asked about the nodes, right? So the nodes, let's go back to the question. Are we going to use nodes or master nodes? So we're definitely going to have our blockchain running off of nodes. There's going to be some form of mining on our blockchain. Either it's going to be proof of work, proof of stake, or it's going to be a hybrid of both. So definitely stay tuned for that. I know we say this a lot, but it's something that we do not intentionally. Like we don't. It's not like we don't want to share that information with you. It's just we're not ready to share it yet. We don't like sharing information that we can't really demo for you. So once we get to the stage where we can show you something substantial, we'll definitely talk more about it.
Proof of
Nev, I
work,
have.
please.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, ISO.
No, it's okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
No worries. Thanks. I was just saying, Neville, we do have another question from the chat. Essentially, tad bit of a forward-looking question here, but the question goes like this: will we also be manufacturing our own cold wallets and mining hardware?
Oh, good question. So again, I had to clap my hands quickly just to stop myself from saying something, but without giving too much away, we are looking at implementing a lot of security, third-party security infrastructure into our platform. That does come in the form of some kind of authentication method. So we don't want to give too much away, especially because we're still in the planning phase for this. This is something that's beyond stage 3, but definitely look out for the manufacturing piece because we're definitely passionate about that. Everyone's unmuted, so if you have any questions, feel free to just speak up.
I'd just like to confirm that I'd be able to mine directly to the exchange.
So that hasn't been ironed out yet, right? So when we talk about mining, we're looking at validators, we're looking at proof of work, proof of stake, right? So we haven't.
I'm just wondering if I could.
Oh, you mean like mining other cryptocurrencies through the exchange, like using the exchange as the node?
As the wallet, correct.
As the wallet. Maybe. So there is a lot of things that we haven't revealed yet that is within stage 3 that we're going to be revealing soon. That may or may not be one of them in some form or fashion. So sorry again, but just got to stay tuned for it.
All right, I'll assume the best because I know Gary's a big miner.
That's a good bet. There is one question in the chat. Once we eventually offer staking and or mining, where will the rewards come from since we don't have any tokens reserved for staking and or mining? So today we don't have the tokens available. We don't have any team tokens, no organization tokens. But in the future, there is a lot of reserve tokens that are going to come into play, right? For example, the tokens that are in the burn wallet, the tokens that are sitting in the contract address. So there's going to be the supply will be determined with all of that in mind, right? So we're going to definitely future-proof our plans. That's how we always think for everything else, and this is no different.
Is the burn wallet going to stay the same after migration?
So the burn wallet will be part of a burn schedule. So there's 2 burn functions that we have in the contract. The one is the true burn, where we can actually remove it from our total supply manually. And the second one is the typical passive dead address. So tokens that are sitting in the dead address, those will be part of a burn schedule because technically those are in circulation today, even though they're sitting in the dead address. So they're still counted towards the total supply. In the future, for the native coin, that's going to be part of a burn schedule over time.
Okay, would I be able to find the dead wallet on Pancake Swap?
You can find it through BSC Scan, actually. Yeah, it says literally burn wallet.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll check it out. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, guys, even if not just questions, the floor is open. We do immensely value community feedback. So anything, questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, we're all yours. This is the time for you guys to speak up. This is a safe space, so let it be heard, guys.
Enki?
Hello.
Someone mentioned something about a partnership with the Ministry of Ontario.
That is correct, yes.
So what's that involved? I have no idea about any of it. So can you go into detail or not, or?
Yeah, sure, we can. So that mainly relates to some aspects of manufacturing that we do want to build and bring in-house. So Neville, do you want to just further sort of clarify what exactly that entails?
Which ministry is that?
It's specifically a organization that is an agency of the Ministry of Ontario. You're from Ontario, right? So it's hard to explain how it works in Ontario, but the government has ministries or agencies rather, right? And these agencies offer different services. So one of the agencies that we're working with, there's actually two. So one of them is for staffing and sourcing, and the second one is for manufacturing. And the manufacturing piece of it is basically they're going to help support bringing that home, right? In the sense that instead of outsourcing those services, whatever technology is required to bring it home, the Ministry of Ontario or this agency in Ontario would help us facilitate that. So whether that be warehouse space, sometimes warehouse space is difficult to source. They would help us source one, whether it be hardware or machinery or the technology needed to manufacture these things. They would help us source that, right? So it's a very in-depth partnership in the sense that we now have access to the reach this agency also has.
Got you. Thank you.
Neville, I have a question, and the first is that how do I get to be able to speak with you directly? I've heard of these DMs. I've got to hold the chat line from the when I'm online, and the truth matter is I just don't know how to get a hold of you personally to get a chat that is separate from public here. So I keep on hearing about these. I get a hold of you through the DM, and I really just don't know how to do that.
Nev, you are on mute, but Fred, I think we'll just make a side note off that, and maybe.
No, sorry, I'm back. Can you hear me, Enki?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry, my headset just died. So Fred, you can actually, if you click my name, and go to my profile, or right-click rather, it'll let you send me a message. Not in the voice chat, but if you send, for example, if I send a message right now, and if you click my picture, it'll let you send me a message. It'll say send message, and you can shoot me a message there.
Oh, okay. Thank you very, very much, Neville. Neville, I have one more question, and that is, I'm very interested in reaching the different tiers that you have. Personally, I want to get very much and get permission to get into the pre-sales of the different coins that you will be bringing on. So being in the, like knowing what the criteria for the different tiers are. Okay, how far have you gone into that direction for creating these tiers?
So when you speak of tiers, you mean like if you're holding this much, you get round one. So we're not looking at doing it that way specifically. So the way it would work is you would need SteamX coin to buy into any launch that would happen through our launchpad, and of course. We would definitely want to benefit, certain holders, that are holding a certain amount or not. But we haven't decided how we're going to do that yet. It wouldn't be fair. The whole tier metric thing is we don't find it fair. We want to have it as balanced as possible. So we're definitely not going the tier way. But when we do decide on how we're going to approach it, we'll definitely outline it in the white paper.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
You- I have three questions. First one regarding, you know, that there is some exchange got hacked, and I need to know that if there's some SteamX or something, do you have insurance for your client about the things? And second question, you know that the Binance right now, they do a partnership in Dubai and Bahrain, and they have contact there. So SteamX, it will go through Middle East also. And the third question regarding, I forget actually. Let's start with my question, and I will remember the third one.
Sure. Sorry about that. I was muted. Chris, did you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'm with regards to the exchange. I'm not sure what exchange you're referring to, but we do have the appropriate mechanisms on hand to kind of protect our consumers, right? That's, not just from a security perspective, but obviously from an insurance perspective as well too, right? That is something that, through regulations that we also have to make sure that we have in place, right? So to keep it as high level as possible without going into too much detail that we can't, yes, we definitely have those mechanisms in place to protect our consumers. That's for your first question, for the exchange.
And then for the second question, for the partnerships, no, so the Binance partnership in Dubai and Bahrain. So definitely, we're looking at being as competitive as possible. The Middle East has been on our radar for a long time. Nothing has been set in stone yet, but things are in motion for not just Dubai and not just Middle East, but other places in the world. So definitely stay tuned. We definitely want to share as much as we can. It's just the time is not right? So we are just now embarking on Q1 2022. We have a lot to share, and we will share it as soon as the time comes.
Thank you. And regarding the third question, you know that there is some bank here in Middle East when you deposit some amount and from crypto or something that they will told you that from where you get this money. Do we have some option that we can do it in SteamX, that like summary or some report or something to let him know that from this place I get money?
Absolutely, right. So that we are a money service business that is FinTrack compliant. So what the function that you're speaking of is what FinTrack is all about. So if someone is bringing in to the platform or taking out of the platform, X amount of dollars, it is our obligation to report it to FinTrack. So we have to ask some specific questions, and if those questions aren't answered adequately, then it's our duty and responsibility to report that. So it's a similar function to what you just mentioned, and we definitely have that in place already. So we are FinTrack compliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions.
I apologize for stepping in. It's Fred again. I was very pleased at the very beginning of your AMA that you were talking about the three different facets that you were dealing with. University of Waterloo. I'm an alumni of Waterloo, and it's just wonderful what you're doing there. Now, one of them you had spoken in regards to security. This is strongly encouraging from the standpoint we're certainly very much aware of all the hacking that's going on out there. And so it's just a kudos to you all for the team of getting Waterloo on board, because I can't help but think that they are going to be on top of it on a constant basis in regards to the security. Am I correct in reading into that?
Absolutely, right. So the security implementations are not just for the platform, right? It also comes to usability functionality as well, right? So your own personal security, the security of your data and your information, how you access the platform, like all of these things are in our consideration, right? And when we say that we want Steam Exchange to be the most safe and confident platform that exists, like that is one of our biggest ambitions.
Very good.
Hi, Neville. I have a question about like
Sure.
for on-ramp and off-ramp, will there be any fees? What will the fees be?
So I think that's a good Chris question.
Yeah. So we at this junction we don't have the appropriate mapping in place. We are obviously have it outlined, but it's not something that we can openly share at the moment. But we can definitely assure you it's not going to be eye gouging, right? Obviously there are services that we do have to account for in place to have these in place. So to answer your question, yes, there will be, but we can't kind of disclose what that will be at this current junction.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, so I know our plan is to launch possibly by March. And if you guys have to have the exchange audited and all this stuff, which could take probably, let's say, a month, so that potentially by the end of this month, or we should have some pretty good concrete answers as to what's going on, what we're looking like as far as timelines, or is that we're still going to be holding that over for, further down, closer to launch, right? We should start ramping up at some point late this month, following into February, or am I being too optimistic?
Yeah. So in terms of the audits, right? It's not one of those things that it's kind of a complete finish to start, because we do have multiple components. We are working in particular audits in parallel where we can. You are right with regards to sometimes these audits can take a little bit of time. Hence the reason why the way we're developing the schedule right now is to kind of have things running in parallel, just to kind of avoid any unforeseen delays there. So yeah, we are. I mean, going into Q4 of last year, we're definitely ramping up, and we've already started some of those audits in terms of what components we have developed. So just to make sure that at the tail end, we're not left in a little bit of a bind. Does that answer your question, Frank?
Yeah, that's good enough, I guess. Thanks.
All right, thanks, sir. All right. Any other questions? Oh, as a crypto farmer.
Are there any other companies who have already lined up for the launch pad? Those who want to list their tokens on
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so we definitely have a couple of projects who have approached us. Obviously, at this junction, we cannot disclose any information, but we've definitely received some feedback from projects, and again, kind of walking them through what the process will be. Nothing firm to kind of commit at this junction, but we definitely do have some interest there. That would, when we do get that junction, when we are ready to bring projects on, we'll definitely have a couple lined up ready to start the process.
For sure. And, just to touch on that, and just to give some perspective of, how heartbreaking some of these turndowns are, is that, we've actually been approached by some mainstream games, right? Some mainstream gaming developers to develop in-game currency through Steam Exchange. And we've turned them down because, to be fair to everyone else that has approached us, we're not at that stage yet to accept or deny deny, but not accept any form of request to list or request to launch from yet, right? So as soon as we're ready, we have a lot of partnerships that we can explore almost immediately to bring forward through our launchpad.
Okay, no, thank you. That will be all then from me.
Thank you.
Hello. This is Fred again. You can tell that I'm Canadian because I'm going to be apologizing for asking another question. Okay. But you had mentioned about when new coins are becoming online with you. Okay. When you're going to be, will you be announcing that to your Steam, to your members that a particular coin is going to be coming online? So we can do possibly a little get involved in pre-sales. So will you be announcing coins before they're accepted or brought online?
Got you. So you're referring more about the launchpad section of it, right? So
exactly.
exactly, yeah. So as projects are being onboarded, again, there's a pretty extensive vetting process that you'll be going to. We will be, providing, I'm not exactly sure what that runway would be in terms of an announcement. Obviously, to allow users to, be in optimal position. But yeah, we would definitely be providing the appropriate heads up to the users of upcoming projects. That way, they can properly get aligned.
Very good, Chris.
But I think it's important to note that it's not going to be until the ink is dried, right? So there's going to be no preliminary information that's leaked, nothing like, oh guys, we're in talks with this person. It's going to definitely be things that are set in stone and agreed upon and ready to go. It's not going to be something that's 1 month before it's ready to go. We're not going to jump in and say, hey guys, this token's coming, get ready. It's going to be more like an announcement kind of thing that, okay guys, this project got through the vetting process and they're scheduled for launch on this date.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, great point. That's true. Yeah. And again, I just want to, sound like a broken record, but the vetting process, it will be a pretty extensive KYC process. In terms of the projects that are being brought to a blockchain, we want to ensure that they're great projects backed by great teams with great goals and ambitions, and overall just looking to improve crypto in itself, right? So we're not just looking to bring on anyone and anyone. So that's something else to add there again.
Chris, that is so absolutely important to fellow Canadians, if you will, because with your exchange of SteamX, it feels like it has like a Canadian value, if you will. Okay, there's a lot of there's a lot of situations going on out there, so it's good to feel that this exchange is going to be able to get a good, trustworthy reputation. Okay. And so to the rest of us Canadians, that's kind of rather important. And that's the reason why we're putting so much trust in you as well.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And again, that will continue to be our biggest, our biggest thing we're advocating for, right? Is the safety, right? Safety, and trust. I think you hit the nail on the head with regards to trust, right? We're out to tear down those barriers of, fear and unknown, by instilling trust, right? And by having the appropriate mechanisms in place, we're helping to ensure that this trust is there, and it just makes everyone feel a lot better with regards to decisions we're making. We're not going to tell you what decisions to make, but we're going to ensure that we have the best platform possible for you to make safe decisions.
Wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate all your great questions today.
Thank you.
Definitely some amazing questions this AMA. Love it. Remember, guys, this was the first AMA of 2022. So, and like Viraf mentioned, we're open to feedback and criticism. We actually welcome it. So if anyone has, anything to, any feedback to give us, please do so, right? Whether it's in this open platform, whether it's via DM, or whether it's in the chat, right? Just shoot us a message and let us know what you think we're doing wrong and how you think we can fix it, so we can proceed as planned, right?
Absolutely. But I think, guys, maybe let's have a last call for a couple of questions. If anyone has any questions, just everyone is unmuted. So just feel free to speak, to ask. Otherwise, I think we can sort of call it a close for this particular AMA.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We definitely always enjoy having you and always enjoy speaking with you guys. Again, Happy New Year's to everyone here, and thank you for being along for the ride.
I agree.
Thanks,
Like
and Happy New Year
just
to
echo
all.
that. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
Thanks, everyone. Stay well.